between a regular square root of a regular number and a square root of a negative number. Okay? 100, a square root of 100 is 10, a regular 10. Alright? If it's a negative 100, then you have a 10i. Okay? In order for you to have an I, the negative needs to be inside the radical. Alright? If the negative is outside, then that's not going to give an I. It's just going to give you a negative 10. Okay? If it's I to the first power, it's just I. If it's I to the second power, it's negative 1. If it's I to the third power, then it's negative I. I to the fourth power is a positive 1. For example, if I'm asking you, hey, what is I to the fourth power? Then you say it's 1. Okay? If I'm asking you, hey, what is I to the seventh power? 7 is the same thing as 4 plus 3. Alright? So this is the same thing as I to the fourth power times I to the third power. Because 3 plus 4 is 7. You add this when you multiply this together. Right? I to the fourth power is 1. I to the third power is a negative I. Okay? Then that will be a negative I. 1 times negative I is negative I. Right? So, even if this is an 8, even if that exponent is an 8, okay? Because 8 is a multiple of 4, all right? Then that's 1, okay? Any multiple of 4 is going to give you 1, all right? Even if it's a 44, okay? 44 same thing as 4 times 11, all right? That's still going to be 1. If it's a multiple of 4, it's a 1, all right? Now, what happens when it's not a multiple of 4? So let's say it's I to the 18 power, okay? So 18 is not a multiple of 4, okay? But we can do this right here. We can take 18, we can divide by 4, all right? 18 divided by 4 is 4. 4 times 4 is 16, which means that we have a remainder of 2, okay? This 2 right here is giving you the answer, all right? Okay, so the 2 is right there. So I to the 18 power is negative 1, all right? The remainder, if it's remainder 1, then that's right there. If it's remainder 2, if it's remainder 3, okay? This right here, that's remainder 0. There's no remainder, okay? If that is, there's no remainder, all right? So for example, I11, okay? 11 divided by 4, that'll be 2. 2 times 4 is 8. 11 minus 8 is 3, so that's remainder 3. So, right there. So that's negative I. We have an I, so that's an I. We have a square root of a negative 49. Basically, that's going to be 7i, okay? Because the negative is inside the radical. Then we are multiplying together. I times 7i is 7i squared. All right? This is the next step. I squared is a negative 1. All right? So this is the same thing as 7 times a negative 1. Okay? So that can be a negative 7. A square root of 121 is 11. Okay? So this is 11. Since it has a negative in front of it, it's going to be 11i. Okay? Minus a square root of 36 is 6. Okay. In this case, you cannot do anything else to this because the 6 has no I, the 11 has an I. So they're two different things. All right. Okay, to write your answer, make sure you write the number first and the number with the I last. All right. So that's negative 6 plus 11i. Okay. So the number without an I first and the number with an I last. All right. We call this the standard form. All right. The two I's there. So it's just 2i for now. Okay. Can we do anything to that square root of negative 100? What is that going to be? 10i. So that's 10i. All right. Now we are going to multiply. 2 times 10 is 20. Okay. I times I is I square. What is I square? negative 1. So this is same thing as 20 times negative 1. All right, so that's negative 20. So first of all, we are not doing anything to that yet. We're just going to rewrite it. 4i to the third power. 32, same thing as 16 times 2. Okay? A few things. Make sure that the perfect square goes first, and make sure that the negative is with the perfect square. Alright? Okay. We are writing this again. A square root of 16 is 4. A square root of negative 16 is 4i. So that's 4i. Oh, that's a 3, sorry. And you carry that down. Now you multiply this together. Alright, so 4 times 4 is 16. Okay. We have I3, that's 3i. And we have one more, that's I4. So this is I to the 4th power. Okay. Alright. So remember I to the 4 is 1. Okay. So this is 16 times 1. That can be 16 square root of 2. 9 times 2. 32. The highest perfect square on 32 is 16. So that's 16 times 2. Okay. A square root of 9 is 3. Bring down the 2. A square root of 16 is 4. Bring down the radical of 2. Alright. If your two square roots are the same, then you add them together or subtract. If they're not the same, then you stop right there. Alright. Since we have the same square roots, then we're just going to add the front number together. Alright. So 3 plus 4 is 7. Square root of 2. Okay. If this is like a 3, then that's your answer. You cannot add them together if they're not the same. Alright, or subtract. 4i stay as 4i. Okay. A square root of 36 is 6. Since there's a negative in front of that, it's going to be an I. Okay, if there's negative inside. If the negative outside, it's not going to be an I. Alright, then you multiply them together. 4 times 6 is 24. And then we have I squared because we have two of them. I times I squared. Alright, remember I squared is negative 1. Okay, so that's 24 times negative 1, which is negative 24.